All right, Ivan just joined us. We're up to 17. So we should have most of our folks back here real soon. So, Jared, what's cooking at ODFW?
About the same stuff dealing with COVID aftermath and
Changing rules.
yeah.
Seems like every week, you know, and the metrics go up and down, and it just changes everything that we can or can't do.
Yeah.
And so,
fortunately, some of our forest land is starting to open back up after the fire stuff, so that's kind of nice.
yeah, that always helps out because a lot of that stuff got canceled. I believe there's a process for certain refunds on certain tags.
Yeah, there's some tags that anybody that was in an area majorly affected by the wildfires is eligible for requesting a refund because of how hard their seasons were impacted.
And the key thing on that is if they didn't hunt. So even if you went out and you hunted for a day, then you would be ineligible for that. You're signing certifying that you didn't.
Yeah.
So, okay, very good. ODFW headquarters here, is it open to the public now? Is it closed? What's the status?
We're all public, or all of our offices are closed to the public through the end of the year currently.
Okay.
And we won't know till probably December timeframe what that'll look like after the first of the year.
Okay, all right. And I think for a lot of us state employees, you know, that's just, it's a wait and see game, really.
Yeah.
The dates keep getting extended, you know, the end of September and then the end of October, and now it sounds like the end of the year. So that's something that a lot of us have had to deal with.
Yeah, some of the major announcements that they've had recently for our agency as a whole, that does partially affect Hunter Ed too, is the all of our sportsman shows have been canceled.
All the spring sportsman shows?
All of them for 2021 will not have Fish and Wildlife happen.
Okay.
And we've also been instructed not to have our volunteer tables there too. We don't want to put our volunteers at risk either.
Okay. So even if a sportsman show is going to take place, which I've heard that the big one in Portland, at least last I heard, was still scheduled, ODFW and volunteers are not to be there.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that makes sense.
We will not be running booths and not
Hard to hear, Jared. Hard to
Hard to hear
project.
me?
Yeah, project your voice towards the phone up here.
Sorry about that, guys. We will not be running any of the sportsman shows this year at all, volunteer or otherwise. We will not be supporting them. And that directive came recently from the director's office. We were just informed about that, I think, last week in an email. So we will not have booths. Major ones that we do, the Portland, Albany, Roseburg, Redmond, even if those run, Fish and Wildlife will not have booths, and Hunter Ed will not have booths at them.
So how's that for volume? Is that a little bit better, or does Jared need to speak up just a little bit? Because we're talking to, we had to switch, we're not using the camera system in here or the microphones here. That's not being used because of some issue with the technology. And so we're talking to a phone. It's about probably our
6 feet away.
Yeah, good thing it's 6 feet away. It's not our
Yeah.
phone. We might, you know, we got to keep that distance there. So we're trying to do as best we can. We had some technology issues today, and we'll try to project our voice towards the phone, and you know, have as best of a conversation as we can to get you the information that we have today. So looks like we're up to about 30 folks. I think probably a good time to start.
Yeah, we'll get this going. Again, let's try to start this over again. Thank you guys for being here tonight. I appreciate you joining us. We're gonna go through our topics that were sent out earlier in an email. Hopefully everybody got those. Starting with our first one, COVID-19 updates. Status is gonna remain unchanged. All current rules are staying in place through the end of the year. I want to remind everybody that if your county gets taken out of phase 1 and your class is coming up very quickly, your class isn't gonna end up being canceled. I apologize for that, but that's just, if it's not even in phase one, we can't continue in that county until it comes back into phase one. Now, if you have a class that's scheduled a little ways out and your county loses phase one, we can play the wait and see game and see if you make it back to phase one prior to the class going live. And we'll have to make that call on a class by class basis. I know a couple of you guys have had classes affected by that in a couple different areas, and I apologize for that. It's just unfortunately the rules we have to play by right now. Our second one,
I'll go over that. So do you have any idea of which counties are not in phase one, or at least in phase one?
I think everybody is in at least phase one right now. The only one that I'm not positive on, because they haven't, I don't think they made a decision, is the one that contains Ashland.
Jackson County?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. And if they're on the threatened or watched list, but they're still in phase one, they're still okay?
Yeah, right now they are at the Jackson County would be in the watch list on phase one.
Okay.
If they get downgraded, then we'll have to, I don't think we have anything currently scheduled there, but if they did, we'd have to look at those classes.
Okay, all right. And if we have any questions on phases or COVID-19, any other updates, we'll get to those at the end. Our second bullet that we're going over is classes and students year to date. And from January 1st, 2020 through August 31st, 2020, we've had 84 classes. 1,189 students were certified. There are currently over 1,500 students who have the online studies done. So they've gone through the class, they've got their certificate, but they haven't attended a field day class to get their permanent Hunter education card. And so that's our backlog that we're going to have to work with on this upcoming year to be able to get through those students and any additional students that we're going to have. You know, how are we going to do that? What are we going to do? Move on to, you know, the third. I wish we had the metrics for 2019, but for the whole year, what do you, just a rough guess, 2019, how many students were taught?
Rough guess, I'd say just shy of 4,000.
So just shy of 4,000. We're just shy of 1,200 through the end of August. So you know, we're down quite a bit.
Yeah.
And that's obvious. I mean, I know it's obvious in my area. We've only had like 2 classes, one at the very beginning and one later on. It's been tough. It's been tough for instructors, and it's also been tough for getting a place to do some of these classes and keep the 6-foot restrictions and stuff like that. So we're about moving forward because we got this temporary rule.
Yeah. So most everybody by now should know about the temporary rule that I put in place to protect kids this year from being able to get out hunting, even if they weren't able to get into a hunter ed class. And that basically allowed them to hunt this year with a supervising adult 21 years of older if they completed the online class or the home study workbook. And with the home study workbook, they had to send the completed workbook to us and get a temporary certificate. All this stuff and rules are only good for the 2020 hunting season. So we still retain the fact that they have to come see us in a hunter ed class to have the complete approval to have their hunter ed certification. At this time, there is no plan to put that temp rule in place for 2021. They're going to be back to the normal rule of being required to come to a conventional class, a field day, and to do so before they go hunting. So the way I set the temp rule is it's set to expire March 31st of 2021 because we do have some youth tags that run to that time frame. So after that, they're back to needing classes, which with us probably potentially finishing this season with about a 2,000 backlog, Plus what normally comes to us during the course of a regular year, we're gonna be quite a bit behind on hunter ed classes. So, any classes that can be done out there, any areas, classes are filling up fast no matter where we post them right now. People are traveling to get them.
Oh, I know, our last class that we had in Klamath, we had people from across the state,
Yeah.
you know, just to get their kids through, and
One of my last classes from Portland, teaching up there with Chris Friend, we had a couple of students from Klamath actually come all the way up to Portland. So people are traveling to get the classes wherever they need to, which is good when we have the temporal in place. They're still choosing to try to come see us in hunter ed. On the classes that we as staff here at Fish and Wildlife are leading, if we're in your area, we could use your help. And even if you're not comfortable with teaching and being hands-on due to the COVID stuff, we completely understand that. If you can come out and give us a hand with setup, tear down, sanitizing guns, anything like that, any of that stuff helps. And as always, you guys are always welcome at any class that is going on, especially the ones that we are teaching.
and then also help with finding locations for the instructors to be able to come down to your area. They're going to come to your area and help out, put on a class. If you could help them with locations and stuff like that, that'd be helpful, because they're obviously probably not from your area. They're going to come down and put on a class for you. We're going to try to help them as much as we can.
Yep, and if you do have that, if you have an area that there's students that need it and you don't have enough instructors to get the class done, please let us know, and if you can help us out with an area to teach, we'll come down and take care of that and get it done. But we're never gonna catch this backlog up or even be able to maintain a flat line without your guys' help. And we very much appreciate what you guys do, and we're by no means asking anybody to put themselves in danger to do this either. If you're not comfortable, simply, that is completely your choice, we understand.
Yeah, definitely. We definitely don't want to be putting any of our instructors in a bad spot. So we're going to get back to workbooks in just a little bit, because I know that there's some temporal with the workbooks and stuff like that. We're going to get back to that a little bit further down the line. We're going to transition over to kind of something we went over earlier. So all ODFW functions are pretty much canceled for 2021, including any of our volunteer activities, going to sportsmen's groups and stuff like that. But also all conferences for regional, statewide, and AC meeting for hunter education. All of those are canceled and or postponed until further notice. So it's pretty much 2021 until we get some better ideas from those much further above us. What we can do, what we can put on. We're just going to have to cancel everything. We're going to try to do more video meetings, and we're going to try to do them a little bit better. We're going to try to have some better setup for the video and stuff like that. This was kind of a last minute deal, having to switch over to the camera on a phone. It's working, but we'd like it to be better. We want to get the information out to you guys in a timely manner.
Yeah, on it being better, I was also informed today that the state has purchased a new Zoom, state-specific Zoom setup that I don't know all the details on it yet, but supposedly it's something that we could potentially look at doing this on here, where we could actually have some voice to other people than just us, so we can have a conversation about some of your questions and be able to interact that way. It sounds like a really good setup, and I'd have the ability to make sure that I can mute guys like Jim Salee every once in a while when I need to.
When he starts talking, you hear that voice, and you're like, I recognize Jim.
Just kidding, Jim. Sorry you're on there, so
that'd be really helpful. But again, we're trying to make this better. It's sometimes it's a slow process. That's why I came up from Klamath to help Jared out. Sometimes it's a little bit easier to co-teach. Well, sometimes it's a little bit easier to co-present even in these things. So
It's much better, and being that I can't con Myrna to come out here in front of the camera.
No, she's hiding over here. And, you know, if we could tilt the camera that way, we would, but we're not gonna mess with it, so. All right, so NRA Range Officer Training Officer. We got some training opportunities though, even though we can't have a conference, but a little bit smaller group stuff. We got something coming up.
So what I'm looking for this range officer training, I know we have some instructors, and before I go to any other source, I want to go to our instructors that can teach the NRA range officer training. I know like Ivan Hernandez and a few others, Kerry Boak, and there's several other instructors in different areas that can teach that class. I'd like to hear from you guys on your availability of being able to put on a couple classes for hunter ed instructors. And I'm offering to pay for those classes for any instructor that's willing to go down and take the class to become NRA certified. The only thing I need you to do in order for me to pay for it is you'll have to fill out the volunteer instructor form.
The course report.
The course report log that you fill out for every class. I need you to fill that out so that we can log those hours, and then I can pay for your NRA certification for a range officer.
And that not only does that assist the instructor, in being a better instructor, having another certificate, but that also assists ODFW in their match volunteer hours that they have to have for certain pockets of money, basically, yes. Which helps pay for all the programs.
Yep, it helps pay for the money, for the things that we need for the program, pays for all of our hunter ed materials and stuff like that. So it's a huge help for us if you're willing to take those, and I feel like it's a pretty good offer for you guys. I'm willing to cover that cost.
We just need the instructors who are willing and able to step up and put those range safety officer NRA classes on for the rest of us.
What I'd like to try to do is build a schedule of when instructors are available, and as soon as I have those dates available, I'll put them out to the instructor corps to have them sign up, and then we'll get it taken care of and paid for, and get those logs back and the training done, and it'll be a win-win for all of us, I think.
All right. So we got a little Instructor of the Year award for 2019. Yes, we're a little bit behind, but we are trying to get this stuff done. Myrna, have you checked to see if either one of these are in our chat or online right now? I'm not sure, but so we're going to go through these. We have 2 Instructor of the Years for 2019. What we've done, we've gone to an East Side and a West Side instructor, because there are a lot more instructors on the West Side, and sometimes it seems like, you know, that's only the instructors that are getting picked are from the West Side. So this gives some East Side instructors who maybe don't hold as many classes, or maybe it's not as many students, get a little bit more exposure. And
maybe, just not as visible.
Exactly, yeah. And so we want to recognize you. We want to recognize all of you. And so what we had is we had the, instructors nominate who they thought Instructor of the Year for 2019 should be. We had a few folks that were nominated, but our winners, starting off with the East Side, is Topper Schloop. Is that it? Schloop? All right. Topper, if I messed up your name, I apologize. Malheur County instructor. And then on the West Side, Instructor of the Year 2019 is Bill Hendricks, up in Clackamas County. So,
all right. And
they'll, so with that award, you're going to be getting a plaque from OHEIA, and you're going to be getting a Cabela's gift card from ODFW. And we really appreciate you as instructors. You're doing a great job. Everyone's doing a great job. We really appreciate you guys. You guys were specifically brought to ODFW. Your names were put before a 6-member panel, and they basically looked at, you know, the number of nominations you get, basically your class's involvement, and they made the decisions off of that. And so congratulations, Topper and Bill. We really appreciate everything that you guys have been doing this last couple of years.
Yeah, and on that too, also nominated, I think it's important to recognize that they were nominated by their peers. even though they weren't selected, and still it's a big thing to be nominated by your peers and recognized by them. Dennis Cole and Nick Castillo were both nominated for that.
Very good. Yeah, congratulations, Nick and Dennis. You guys
Yeah.
also, yeah. You know, that tells us that your peers, the folks that you are working with, they see and they recognize the value that you're giving to your students, and that's excellent. We like that. So what about 2020?
So 2020, there's gonna be some little bit changes that we already just did, basically with the Instructor of the Year award. We're gonna make the East and West Side winners in both categories, AC award and the Instructor of the Year award. The AC award is basically picked by the education staff based on our interactions with you guys, how much work you've done in your area, and all that you bring to the program. If anybody is on here that missed it, Ivan Hernandez was our 2019 AC award winner. And at that time, we just did one. We hadn't done the East and West Side thing that we're doing now. Ivan was very deserving of it, has done a lot of work in his area in Lane County, working with different ranges and stuff and getting our program back in some places that it hadn't been for a while. So again, we appreciate all the work everybody does, and we really want to recognize those that stand out a bit in a crowd, which can be hard with as many good instructors as we have across the state.
And so with this, we're looking for nominations. We're looking for nominations from any instructor. Send up to Jared or to Myrna.
They'll go to Myrna.
Okay,
Myrna will
to
send
Myrna.
out the nomination form for Instructor of the Year for 2020, and we'll get that out soon so we can start working on that, and we'll hopefully have those ready to go and announced for the next live stream.
Myrna, you're making notes over there? Keeping track of your spell? Okay, all right, good. Myrna's all up to speed. All right, we're good. She's keeping us in line. All right, so moving on from awards and nomination requests, we're going to go on to new computers. So basically equipment. If you need a new computer, if it's a need you have, get a hold of us. And we have computers that are available. If you need a gun safe, get a hold of us. We have gun safes available, or the ability to purchase them locally. If you need a field day for the PowerPoint for the field day, or field day signs, or a field day hip pocket guide, all these things are available. If you guys need it, just get a hold of us and we'll be able to get you that information.
Side note on the gun safes, if you guys are currently storing ODFW firearms and have them in what I would consider a kind of a tin can wall mount safe, they're called the stack-ons, stuff like that are kind of a light duty safe. We'd much prefer those be in a stronger safe. We actually had some misfortune this year. One of our instructors had their house broken into while they were evacuated for the fire. And their safe was pried open and some guns went missing, both ours and theirs. So I have gun safes already purchased. I have them available. And I can get more if needed. If you have one of those small safes that you're using, please let me know, and I'm happy to get you a little heavier duty safe. And I'll most likely have them delivered to you because I get them at a pretty good price point, and it'd probably be cheaper for me to actually deliver it to you than it is to buy one in your local area. And then you also get the bonus of we get to help move it into place for you, so you don't have to heave it around.
Okay, so equipment. I kind of had a question. You had field day signs on here, and I wasn't sure what you're talking about. Can you go over that?
Sure. Our field day signs are something that we've developed off of the basis of our PowerPoint. And it's a way, we're using it as a way to teach our presentations. In the class, that would normally be a classroom portion, we're using these outside as a prop for the kids to look at and for a reminder for us of the different things that we need to talk about during the course of a class. And these come in a kit currently of 6 signs. We are in the process of adding a 7th. These signs basically cover some of the key topics that we talk about in a field day classroom setting. The new one that we are adding, and I will throw this out there to you guys because maybe somebody would have a picture for us. Real quick, I'm going to sidetrack the one he has up right now because I will probably get some questions on this, being that I even got it from our own staff. You'll notice that on our little scale that the wrong outweighs the right, and that was done on purpose. And that's because sometimes the wrong thing can seem like the easiest thing to do. So we always ask the kids, what tips that scale back the other way? And that is being an ethical hunter, and the choices you make is what tips that the correct way.
All right.
The sign we are working on and what we are looking for a good picture of we would like a young lady in hunter orange in a hunting picture, like with a firearm in her hand, just to accent the blaze orange rules. So that's a picture we are looking for, a good quality one. So if you guys have any from classes or anything like that, or a pheasant hunt that you know of that you took a picture at, anything like that, we could really use a good picture of a young lady in a hunting scenario with blaze orange on.
And can you describe to me how you use these in a field day setting?
So basically, I use it as a touching topic, as when you go through the different things that you need to talk about, do it. You have your ethics signs in here, and you have your regulation signs, and then you have your Pittman-Robertson Act and some of the tagging rules that you need to go over. So for me, there's also an outline for this that is basically, it's a printed out copy of our slideshow presentation that goes with this. So these are meant to be not everything you got to cover on there, but a reminder of the topics that you have to. So those, most of us have talked for long enough. We know the different things. So we know we talk about ethics, we got to talk about A, B, and C, and that's what they're designed to do. We can't put 20 signs out there or a sign out there for every slide that we have.
And so what you can do with these is, so with COVID, we got a lot of these space restrictions. We got to, make sure we got the 6 feet, we got masks and all that thing. Oftentimes inside is not ideal, and so if we're outside in an area where maybe we can't use a PowerPoint, then these signs would probably be a little bit more ideal for that versus the PowerPoint. As long as we're covering everything that's in the PowerPoint, we're good, but this allows us to do it in a much more open area.
Yeah.
And where maybe we don't have electricity or a screen or anything, or sometimes you put those screens outside, you're not going to be able to see anything on it anyways. And so this will get us through a lot of the same information.
Yeah.
Work in the stuff that's not, it's in the PowerPoint but not on this, and we can keep all those space restrictions that we have.
It takes a little bit of practice to be able to do these with the boards and not the slideshow, but any of us that have been teaching for a good period of time should pick that up pretty fast. They're just, like I said, they're just meant to be cues of the things you got to talk about, and also give the kids something to focus on while you're talking, so they're not drifting off just bored listening to somebody talk.
And so how do the instructors order these?
Just email me or Myrna, and we'll get some sent out to you.
Okay. Are you looking at doing like maybe 2 or 3 per area command, or what were you looking at there?
Anybody that's a lead instructor or coordinator that schedule and lead classes is welcome to order one.
Okay.
We keep about 10 sets on hand, so the only thing I ask is bear with us if we happen to get caught out of stock. It'll take us a week or so. About that long, Myrna, to order them?
Yes.
probably about a week to get more back in stock, so.
Very good. All right. Next, equipment, ammo.
Okay, I've gotten a lot of emails recently about ammo and some concerns about how pricing has gotten a little out of hand with ammo in certain venues. I was looking at one that Ivan Hernandez sent me. I agree with you on the pricing on that. That's getting outrageous. I haven't found that to be the case with the normal vendors I deal with. One of the things I'm working on right now is I'm trying to get a set price point from a specific vendor that will give us a deal based on it being a 100 head program. I will say there'd probably be a minimum of a case order at a time.
Which would really get around a lot of the restrictions that some folks are seeing, where you can only buy like 2 boxes of ammo
Yeah.
at certain retail outlets and stuff like that. So that would really help, you know, in that respect.
Yeah, and I'm trying to get it to where not only I can purchase from them, but if an area coordinator or a county needs some, that I'll be able to give you a code or authorization that you'll be able to order some ammo through the contact that I make. I'm currently looking at federal right now. I don't know if they'll end up being the ones that I go through, wait to see who will give me the best deal. But generally speaking, we're not really paying too much more than what normal would be for shotgun shells, and 22 is just what 22 is. They're not as expensive as the ones I just recently see on Cheaper Than Dirt, but they're not as cheap as they once used to be either. We do have a pretty good supply of ammo here currently. So if you do get in a pinch and aren't being able to find some that fits in your budget, just get a hold of me and I'll do what I can to help you out.
All right, so you'll have email instructions once you get this set up. It's not set up now, so when this happens, or Jared's working on it, you'll send out an email so that we have better instructions at that time. We're just letting you guys know this is coming up. This is something that's being worked on, because we do understand that there is some ammo restrictions right now. Some areas can't even get ammo, so we're working on that. All right, so next, the workbook option for field days. So this is kind of ties back into what we talked about earlier on workbook. So typically, you got 2 different ways that you can come into your field day class. They can bring you a workbook, or they can bring you their certificates printed out that they, you know, pass the online class. The workbook option is not going to be an option anymore. ODFW is not going to be sending out any more workbooks from here because, frankly, we're getting about an 80% loss. So if for every 100 that they're sending out, only 20 are actually turning those back in during a class. So, you know, what does that mean for us as the instructors in the field? We can still accept a completed workbook that someone's worked on. Maybe it took them a little bit longer, maybe during this COVID stuff they had one. We can still accept that for a field day, but the students who are requesting them from ODFW will no longer be getting them. Is that what correct? Okay. And so, honestly, it's a lot of money that's going out, and we're getting no return on that, because remember, students don't pay for the workbook when they request one. That's being covered by the $10 from the class. And so if we're sending out a lot of workbooks, that's just a lot of money in postage and paper and material that we're having to buy that we're not recouping or covering at all. So again, we can still accept them completed from a student in a field day class, but over time, we're going to see a whole lot less of these come in because they're not being shipped out by ODFW.
Yeah, correct. And in speaking with several instructors too, a lot of instructors don't see a whole lot of these, and I realize that's a little different in some rural areas. But with getting less, I mean, that 20% of them actually returning is being generous, and when we're spending $13 to $15 per packet every time we send one out, and 80% of those kids are not coming back with those books, it's just a cost that doesn't make sense.
All right, and again, any questions, we will catch them up there at the end. So, next, new instructor training, onboarding, and background checks. Any updates there? What we got going on?
All right, so currently I have a plan for 4 new instructor training events in 2021. That'll be the minimum that I get out there for us. Planning on trying to get them into different areas and spread them around. Willing to do more if they're needed as we recruit new instructors and try to help you guys rebuild your instructor corps in your areas. ACs and lead instructors, you're welcome to come and assist these classes, see them, and once you've gone through them and see how we're administering them, then you're going to be authorized to teach them in your area when you have time and when you have new instructors that need to be caught up to speed to be ready for helping you out. On that,
So how long are these classes?
they're a 6-hour class.
Okay.
And they're going to be taught in the formats that we teach in here. And pretty much most people's classes are pretty similar to what we do. We'll be teaching the training programs in our formats. And then the expectation is if anything that you guys do different or extra when they get into teaching with you, then they'll learn that portion of it when they get to you guys.
All right.
Or anything you might do.
So kind of as a higher overview, we'll just go over this one more time. What we're looking at now, kind of just we have these phases that we're trying to phase out, really. We're trying to get we just have these steps, or, I don't want to call them that really, but you have an instructor that, or someone who applies to be an instructor. So you have the application. They've got to pass the background, a bunch of different checks. And then they move on from that period. The next thing that that instructor candidate, really it's a candidate because they haven't passed anything yet, that they're going to do is they're going to observe one of our classes. It'll be a field day or a full-on class. They're going to observe that. And then they're going to go and move into the 6-hour class. There's going to be 4 of those in 2021. They'll be held by ODFW staff. Different places, we don't know where yet. Those instructor trainings, they're 6 hours long. They'll be held by ODFW, 4 of those. If me as an instructor, a regular lead instructor, or you as a lead instructor want to attend that class, learn during that 6-hour class, get whatever PowerPoint you may have, then you can turn around and if you have a new instructor, they get through the application, they observe a class, then they need that 6-hour class, then you as the instructor can put on that 6-hour class because you've observed it, you've got the PowerPoint, you know how to put it on now. And then the last step is you're working on something where we have the lead instructor basically sign off that this person's good to teach. They met all this criteria.
Yeah.
And that was still fluid. It still needs to happen, but we're still working on the details of that.
Yeah, basically it'll be teaching in front of an experienced instructor like an AC or a lead instructor, or even a Fish and Wildlife staff like myself that come out and observe the person teaching each section and make sure that we're not watching them to make sure they make no mistakes, because I don't think any as instructors, everybody makes mistakes once in a while. But that they have a good understanding of the material they're teaching and they know how to present is the biggest thing. And then once they've done that, then they can be signed off as instructors. They need to make sure if they're going to be a lead instructor, they need to be able to be signed off on all the different things, including leading the classroom portion. They need to have an understanding how paperwork is done, registering for a class through Myrna to get classes posted before they can be signed off as being a lead instructor.
Yeah, and then they're able to go out and teach the classes. I have several of my instructors that contact me and say, hey, when's the next class? And I turn it back around and I say, whenever you would like to put a class on, we can do it, and you just need to tell me what dates, and I can help you sign it up for a class, whatever. But it's just You know, get your instructors involved. And we still, on that, we still have a lot of instructors out there that have some of these things that they're left to do to meet the new background checks. You know, I don't have that list. I'm sure you guys do.
Sort of.
Sort of. Okay. All right. So if you're an instructor and you have a question about whether or not you've met the new background and certification process, please just email Myrna, and she will be able to. There's a totally separate team that does it, but she will be able to track it down through those people. Correct? All right. Good. We got that. And we'll help any way that we can to get you through that process.
Yeah, fingerprints, guys, fingerprints. And most of the guys that are on here that know who I'm talking to.
All right.
I got a few that I've been harassing a little bit about fingerprints.
There we go.
Basically on that whole topic though, our biggest goal out of this is one, to get you guys some fresh recruits, new instructors to help you out, because I know some of the areas have been hit hard with instructors lately over the last few years, and we want to try to give you some prepared people so you're not starting from scratch and they have an idea of how to be a benefit to you and not just something that we threw somebody your way.
All right, so before we get to that last section there, do you want to go through questions?
Sure, we can do that.
You think that? I think that'd be a good idea, and then we'll have the last section that we have for the meeting tonight. Again, if you have any questions, we're scrolling through. I did see one earlier. I'm going to try to look it back up.
I'll have one.
And then Myrna has one. So we'll just type your question in the chat, and we'll try to get to it as soon as we can. Yes, Myrna.
Do you pay for renewal for RSO? Or do you pay for the renewal?
So basically, Jared, if someone wants to renew their RSO, NRA RSO, I assume, rather than a first time, would ODFW be interested in paying
Do they
for
have
that?
to go to a review class for that at all, or?
That I don't know. That would be a good question for, I think Ivan probably has a good idea. Ivan, if you need to recertify, do you still have to go to a class, or do you just need to pay the recertification fee? And then, so we'll get that here in a little bit. Ivan, you had a question. Any inkling on possible backlog for archery hunter ed? We actually had a question about archery hunter ed. There is some demand out there. So if you want to go ahead and just.
Currently, as far as I know, there's not a backlog of it. We are currently working on some of the core foundations of that program and trying to add to the curriculum to make it something that's people are more interested in than just I need it to go hunt in such and such state. We'd like to increase the demand for the archery education because we'd like our archers obviously to be educated and taught good ethics when they're out there hunting. So we do have some program changes and stuff we're working on with that, and we're going to be really driving and advertising that as throughout the year. So yes, in my opinion, there will be more need for it than there has been in the last couple of years, but how much that ends up being, I don't know yet at this point.
But we are seeing interest in some classes.
There's a lot of interest in classes.
Okay. All right, very good. I don't see any other questions in here. Anyone else have any questions about anything we've gone over tonight?
So it's just an online renewal process. It's no.
Okay, so on the NRA, if it's just a renewal,
Without time in class.
Without time in class, that's probably not something we're going to be able to cover. I would take a look at it if you want to include anybody that's coming up for that wants to get a hold of me and discuss that.
And what we're looking for, at least from the ODFW side, is we really need that hour or two or whatever it is, that participation in a class where you're signing off on the volunteer log, your course log, because those hours go towards match hours that ODFW needs. ODFW has basically said, we will provide to get, X for Y. And, so that's where we're looking at that. We need class hours.
Yeah, we need volunteer match hours and class hours. That's one of the reasons why I sent out that, I purchased and sent out that instructor training program. I'm hoping that most of you guys got a chance to review that. All the feedback I got on it, everybody seemed to take a little bit from it, even if you didn't agree with everything in it. Everybody seemed to have something positive they got out of it and learned from it. If you haven't gotten that class yet, please email me or Myrna and we'll get you a link for it. And we give you hours credit for it, and as instructor time. I think it's been averaging 6 to 8 hours of instruction time.
25 points.
Yeah, 25 points of instructor points for going through and doing a program that we're providing for you. And it does us a huge favor, so if you have the time and are willing to do it, if you haven't done it yet, just let us know and we'll get you a link for it.
Okay, and I noticed that several folks are interested in the instructor class, the 6-hour class. They want to be involved. They want to be participating in the new instructor training events in 2021. We know you've said you're interested. ODFW, Jared or Myrna, they're going to be sending out basically when those classes are and what areas they're in, and so you're able to get there and just let them know, because you're probably going to have to deal with some numbers issues.
Yeah.
Because you can only have so many people in certain size buildings and all that.
One fortunate thing to that is instructors aren't included in that number.
Okay.
According to the COVID rules. So we got a little bit of flexibility with that, but at the same time, I don't want to flood a class with too many instructors at a given time. But I will get a schedule together of the 4 that I know we're going to do, and we'll look at, like I said, we'll look at more as the needs arise and as we find out where we need to be with them. But once I have those scheduled in a location and a date firm on it, we will send it out in an email. And I'll make sure in the email it says if you're interested in participating and being at that, to email me, and then I'll take however many I can comfortably take. I'll bring those in and I'll email you and let you know what those are. And again, it'll be in the email, but please, if there's multiple dates you could potentially make work, let me know that, so that way I know I have some flexibility to get you.
Spreading the instructors out, so we don't have everyone in one class.
Correct.
Okay. All right, very good. And then Tiffany down at Klamath. Hey, Tiffany, how are you doing? What does your picture of a young lady need to be? What does she need to be doing, or the scenario? I have my daughter who likes to help. Yes, she does. She likes to help all the time. It's great to have her out. And I have a couple of pictures of my niece at a Hunter Ed class.
So hunter orange vest, hunter orange hat, and preferably a firearm in their hand, whether they're actively shooting or in a good two-handed ready carry. Would
Safe.
be something that's safe and good draped in hunter orange.
And it will be on those slides.
Yeah, and they also have to be willing to be posterized and in a sign.
Yeah, exactly. You never know how long we'll be using these posters. So.
Yeah.
All right, Tiffany, I hope that answers your questions. Any other questions before we round this out? We have one last category, and I don't want to make these too long. We've been on here for a while. But if we don't get any other questions here in the next few seconds, I think we'll move on. So we're going to do more of these live streams.
Yep.
Okay, the next one, put it in your calendars. It's going to be January 4th, 2021. Just a request from me, maybe about 2 weeks out. A reminder from ODFW would be helpful, because sometimes things get lost.
We will do that. I apologize that didn't happen on this, but
Someone was hunting.
Yeah, somebody was hunting.
Well, so was I, but that's okay.
So I'm gonna blame Myrna on that one. Just
Yeah, let's.
That's just not right. That's not right. Okay.
no, that was on me. I didn't get it out. I've been out hunting.
All right. If we say call 911, it was Myrna. All right. No, we're kidding. Okay, the live stream, we're gonna do a little contest. We're kind of working out the details because we want a little bit more participation. Looks like we got 37 people in here chatting. I don't know, we may have more people who are online but aren't in the chat group. So before the next live stream, we're looking for some pictures from you, our instructor core. We want a picture, an old picture. Some not so old, some really old, because depends on what your age is. We're looking for a picture between when you're between ages of 4 and 10. If we can get a picture of you between that age, 4 and 10, each live stream will feature 2 pictures. So we'll feature 2 of you, along with a list of possible names of who it could be. Again, we're working this out a little bit, but the first person to guess the right instructor in an email to Myrna wins a $20 Cabela's gift card. Sounds pretty good. I like that. I like that. There will only be 1 winner per live stream. There will also be, so it'll be 2 winners each time as well, 2 pictures.
Yeah, 1 person per picture.
Yep.
So even if you guess both pictures right, if you're the first one, you'll get one of those, and then the next.
Yeah, we don't want any high grading going on.
Yeah.
You don't want to get anyone getting 2 bottles. You only get 1. All right. And then it looks like we may even actually have some, like a picture of baby Myrna. Is that what I heard? A little picture of baby Myrna might be in one of those that I'm thinking. So education team staff also might be participating. I'm liking this. I'm liking this.
We're not eligible to win the contest, but we're gonna probably mix in our pictures.
And if it's your own photo, you can't vote for yourself. Sorry, because you're out that live stream.
Yeah,
You're gonna have to figure out what the other picture is. So, anyways, we want to keep these a little bit more entertaining, and we want to be a little bit more timely, get the information out to you guys. And I really appreciate everyone being here tonight.
Yeah, me too. One other note on that contest: if your picture stumps the group,
Oh yes.
then you get the gift card.
Yep.
So, a little encouragement to submit those pictures.
Yeah, something a little bit wild and off the, it's like a little extra hairdo or something that just, who would that be?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Very good.
So, again, thank you guys, everybody, for being here. Really appreciate it. Sorry for the technical difficulties. We're gonna get an email out that will recap everything we've talked about, and again, the video will be stored on the YouTube page
Forever.
Yeah, it's gonna be on there for you guys to review. If you missed any at the beginning, please see that. And as always, if you have any questions that we didn't get to, or you didn't get a chance to ask tonight, send them to me or Myrna, and we'll get you an answer back.
All right. Well, thank you all, and for letting us take up time on your Monday evening. We appreciate it. You guys have a good night.